Hi, everybody. Hi. Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 3 of the Christina Danielle Show. Welcome. Get your friends and I'm in here. Make sure they know that we are live. I'm going to make sure that we are good on all channels because that is very important. All right. So tag your friend, tag your homie, tag your bestie, tag anybody who's attentive to hear, anybody who needs to hear, and let them know we are live. It's going up on a Thursday per usual on the Christina Danielle Show. So make sure you get them all in here. We're going to have a really, really great time tonight. Super excited for tonight's guest. It's going to be so much fun. And we're going to have so many jewels and gems that are dropped. And not only the jewels and the gems that are dropped, we're also going to have some healthy conversations. And if you know anything about me, I love a healthy conversation. So I'm just making sure that we are live for everybody over here, giving y'all some time to get up in here. Let's just do a little bit of editing over here. All right, there we go. Perfect. That is set. All right. Good. Welcome, everybody. Again, welcome to the Christina Danielle Show. My name is Christina Danielle. You know what it is. You know I'm your girl. I'm the real person, R-E-A-L, not the R-E-E-L person, right? I'm very transparent, very truthful. And I curated and created this show so that we can highlight dope entrepreneurs and thought leaders. And they talk about their pain and their purpose and how they use that to create a platform that helps other people, right? And so we want to empower and encourage others to live their best, prosperous life. And that is what we do here on the Christina Danielle Show. So thank you so much for tuning in. If this is your first time here, welcome. If you are returning, welcome back. I appreciate all of you so much, sending you all of my love. Again, we're going to have a dope conversation tonight. For the month of June, it was very specific to me. It was very dear to my heart to highlight some really dope men. We know we started out with 2 females, 2 beautiful queens, and now we're going to go on to our kings and talk to some of our kings for the month of June. So you definitely want to be a part of this conversation. You definitely want to tune in, and you definitely want to make sure that you stay here as well and share this out. Don't just keep this to yourself. We got too many people keeping this good information to themselves. Make sure you let somebody else know that we are here, all right? So I've already told you about who I am and what do I do? Who is Christina Danielle outside of the Christina Danielle Show? Well, what I do is I help women and entrepreneurs to operate profoundly in their Godfidence so they can prosper in their purpose. Basically, what I do is I help you live a transformative lifestyle, which means you're not out here just being mediocre, just being minute, just being minor. I want to make sure that your confidence is raised so that you can operate in purpose in all aspects of your life. And that means in your career, in your relationships, whatever it is, I want to make sure that you are operating confidently in that purpose. All right. And that's what I do for those who don't know who I am. So we got a couple of ads. As you know, the Christina Danielle Show is doing some ads right now. So I want to highlight some dope entrepreneurs. We're going to, let me pull up my notes here. We're going to start with Airbnb, y'all. If y'all know, first of all, if you're following me, you know that I just secured the bag on my first short-term rental property. Super excited about that. So first ad of the night is for CNC Property Solutions, y'all. Make sure that you go and follow them on Instagram, CNC Property Solutions. Okay, super dope company. And I'm so grateful to Mr. Justin Richardson, who is the curator and the creator of B&B Simplified 2.0, the course that allowed me to create a short-term rental property opportunity. Okay, I knew nothing about short-term rentals, y'all. I've never done it in my life before. And honestly, I thought that you actually had to own the property before you can actually do a short-term rental. Well, being a part of Justin's course and learning it, I was able to just secure mine, and I'll be posting those pictures really soon. So make sure that you follow me on Instagram at I am Christina Danielle so you can see the finished product. Not only did I create that, my daughter created hers a week later. So both of us now have short-term rental properties, and I think that's super dope, right? I mean, how many people can say me and my daughter both have short-term rental properties? And that's all because of Justin Richardson's course. So if you want to tap into that course, you can go to my Instagram. I am Christina Danielle. There is a link in my bio for B&B Simplified 2.0. Get in on that deal while you can, because baby, We got to secure every single bag, right? You know, the richest people out here, they got at least 7 streams of income. How many streams do you have? And that's one right there that you can do. All right. So that's for that. Also, we have next on the list, we have the Hustler Club, y'all. The Hustler Club is an outlet for daily motivation for entrepreneurs from all walks of life. Okay, everybody. And no matter what industry you are in or niche you are in, the Hustler Club, it's here to help you motivate, inspire, and empower you. People from all over the world are part of the Hustler Club, y'all. So if you're not a part of the Hustler Club, you need to be a part of the Hustler Club. All right. We're talking about masterminds, resources, accountability groups, and so much more. So make sure you go on Instagram right now and you follow the Hustler Club, the @ the Hustler Club. Follow them today and make sure that you get your motivation. Make sure that you get inspired and you get empowered so you can build your business. This is for all entrepreneurs, no matter what your industry is. So I'm a part of the Hustler Club. And if you see all the dope things that I'm doing, clearly the Hustler Club is working. So make sure that you get a part of that as well. All right. So we're going to get started with tonight, and we're going to get started with having some fun here tonight. I'm super excited again about tonight's guest. Man, I don't know what I did to God to acquire such greatness in my presence. I don't know what I did to God that he would bless me with somebody of this magnitude to say yes. I don't know what I did, but I'm grateful. All right. So super excited to introduce my guest. Tonight's guest for episode 3 of the Christina Danielle Show is Brandon Frame, y'all, of the Black Man Can. If you are not familiar with the Black Man Can, you need to be. You are missing out. All right. Brandon Frame is a visionary leader, social innovator, and educator. He is the founder and chief visionary officer of the Black Man Can, Inc., an award-winning nonprofit that amplifies the stories of what Black men and boys can do. Yes, come on now. We're empowering our Black men and boys. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope y'all are ready. I hope you got your pen and paper. I hope you are attentive because I am bringing on a great, great individual to give you some jewels, some gems, some empowerment, and to really just have some real healthy conversations, right? I mean, that's what it's about. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to bring on none other than episode 3 amazing guest. Thank you for saying yes. Thank you for giving me your time, Mr. Brandon Frame. Hey, Brandon, how are you?
I'm wonderful. I'm wonderful. Thank you again for the opportunity. Thank you for thinking enough of me to want to have me as a guest, in season 1, so I'm honored and honored, but truly honored to be here. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your yes. Thank you for being here again. Time is something we don't get back. So the fact that you are giving of your time, I'm so appreciative of that. And I want to make sure that my gratitude is expressed first and foremost. So thank you. We honor you, King, so much for what you do. So please introduce. I mean, I gave a little bit, but you got a lot. Please take the time to introduce yourself.
Brandon Frame. I try to see how I live my life is just be a role model, a scholar, and a gentleman. I think that God put me on earth to walk in the order steps that He has laid out for me, so that I can create the most impact through work and ideas. I run the Black Man Can. I work for the Urban Assembly as a director of social emotional learning. And I just, I wake up every day happy to, be a vessel for God in terms of what He wants me to do in my life. So, and that brought us here today. So
he's being very humble, y'all, because I read this man's bio and I didn't know all the stuff I knew about him. You are definitely a vessel because your resume is phenomenal, and it's about the impact that you're making, right? I know that you are big on impact. I mean, you have impacted with the Black Man Can over 10,000 Black men and boys. Over 10,000. That's huge. I mean, how does that even feel to hear that, to know that, you allow God to work through you and you've impacted over 10,000 Black men and boys across the world. And you established a mentor network of over 500 Black men. How does that feel for you?
I mean, it's. I think ideas are spiritual children seated by God inside of us, and He places the people around us and the tools around us so that we can manifest these ideas into reality. And so, hearing that is just a manifestation of that, right? Like, I just begin these ideas of different things. A lot of times, like, you know, and you work with entrepreneurs, and it's just like, hey, you just got to start. You know, the Black Man Can started as a blog 10 years, over 11 years ago now, right? So I just bought a domain name and said, you know, I want to tell some stories. MK Asante is one of my favorite scholars. Is once you make an observation, you have an obligation. All I did was make an observation that Black men and boys need to see positive images of themselves and need to have their stories told. So I had an obligation to create it. I've just kind of stood on that. That's my why. And just and going on top of that mountain and stood there and proclaim that, and then different things as I innovate along the way to try to meet that why. And so to hear it again is just like, okay, I'm moving in the right direction. I'm doing exactly what He needs me to do in terms of my place and purpose on earth.
So you know that you got to run that back. What was that observation? You got to run that back. Like, I think that people need to hear that again.
I know, absolutely. Once you make an observation, you have an obligation,
Woo!
Right? And I think, you know, we all make observations every day about the things that we like, that we don't like, things we want to see change. And then, you know, from there, you think about what's your purpose, what's your passion, what you're really good at, and finding a nucleus of that. And then you go out, and from that, you have an obligation to, you know, follow through on that observation, combining your tools, your talents, and your abilities and your skills.
Wow, that's fire, fire, fire. So the Black Man Can started out as a blog and is now this huge network. Like, that's insane, because a lot of people, and I want you to speak a little bit about this, because some people think that, you know, they think they have to start something grand in order for it to be grand. And they don't realize that it literally starts with, like you said, making an observation of something that needed to be done, started out as a blog, and now it's a whole network. So I want you to speak to the person who, you know, they've made an observation, right? And now the hearing what you just said, now they know they have an obligation, but they're not sure how to get started. Can you speak to that person?
Yeah, you just gotta. It really is just a start. I think a big key to that is don't let social media rush you. You know, that's like a big piece, right? Like we see people, you know, on Instagram and Facebook, and you know, buy this home and this, that, and the third. But all these things is a process, right? Like, you know, you don't just wake up and be able to do it. You got to start. When you start, you'll get some feedback. You're going to make some missteps. You're going to lose some money. Like, all these things are part of the business building process, no matter what level you want your business to operate. If you're trying to make a business that you're trying to scale to the highest levels, or you have a business that, you know, you really just want to keep it as a nice side hustle, brings you a couple dollars, you know, to you know, do whatever, right? No matter what, that you got to start. And then you do, and as you're doing it, you're going to make mistakes, but you're going to learn from all those. Or what I like to say, you're going to turn your stumbling blocks into stepping stones, and then this is going to continue to build and grow, and then you'll continue to make a difference in your life and the life of others.
That's fire. I mean, if y'all not taking notes to all these gems that he's dropping, fire. Oh my goodness. So let's talk about, you talked about don't let social media fool you, right? But you have built a socially conscious online community that has over 500,000 followers and generates 7 million impressions weekly. That's huge. That's huge. How did you do that organically and authentically? Because, you know, people out here trying to buy likes and comments and followers and all that stuff. So I know that yours is completely organic and authentic. And I would love for you to shed some light on that for the person who wants to build their social media.
I mean, I think the biggest thing with social media is consistency. And so the Black Man Can, you know, like, this has been around since 2010. Instagram page probably popped up, I don't know, like 2015, 2016. And then kind of really put a strategy to it where like, oh, like first it was like, post some fatherhood pictures. And then I was like, you know what? Oh, we should post engagement pictures, right? Because Black men are getting married. I could post an engagement picture a day, right? Popular media would have you say we're not getting married and we're not marrying Black women, which is completely opposite, right? So we need to be the place but also it's a place where Black men who are proposing can be celebrated. It's not to say that a woman getting her ring is not something to celebrate, but Black men need a place to celebrate that commitment. Like I made that decision that this is the woman that I want to spend the rest of my life with. And I get those messages. I get those pictures with that message say, yo, yesterday, man, I committed to my queen and I'm so excited to start my family. I read those every day. I don't have bad days. I have bad moments, but I don't have bad days because every day I read some sort of story from a man about his wife, about his kids, about graduation, about starting a business. And, can I get highlighted on the Black Man Can, because that's what we represent. And so, again, it just goes to consistency, and it goes to remembering our why, and also not just like hyper focusing on the idea of monetization. Like it will come if you build it in the right way, right? It's not like about moving fast, about moving correctly. When you do that, everything that you want will happen. And I think for me, I also, just being a man of faith, I really just I really have worked hard to get to a place of not leaning on my own understanding, right? That's when we lean on our own understanding, right, and don't trust him, that's where anxiety and depression and some other things can creep in. But when you really know that like everything that you want is going to happen at his time and not yours, then you just have to run the race, right? You just gotta go through the marathon and stay focused and chart. It's not about planning, because when you plan, God laughs, but you should create a vision of where you want to go, and then you walk in your order steps to get there.
Wow, that is so powerful. So very powerful. Oh my gosh. I absolutely love that. And I love how you broke it all down. Man. Whew. All right. Again, I hope y'all are taking notes. I hope y'all are really taking this in. I love the fact that you get to live a lifestyle where Black men are coming to you and saying, I want to highlight my kids. I want to highlight my queen. I want to highlight the amazing accomplishments that I have, because unfortunately, we know that the world does not love on our Black men, right? And you have created a space and a platform that absolutely embodies what a Black man can do and is and are doing, what they are doing. Tell me, how is that feeling for you? I mean, to know that you've created this space where it's a safe space where Black men can be highlighted and celebrated, and they don't have to feel like the world is against them. How does that feel for you? And I'm sure for them it's amazing, but for you, how does that feel?
It feels good, because I think if you go back to the why I started, that you could argue that that's not necessarily why I started about creating spaces, but I also started it at 21 years old. So I didn't know, or 22 years old, I didn't know that was as a point. I did go to Morehouse, but I didn't understand as much of about the why creating the space was important, why we need a space to be vulnerable, why we need a space to build brotherhood, why we need a space to foster positive self-identity. And even more so, it started with creating those spaces for young men, right? For Black boys. And then as I've grown and matured as a man, I saw, wow, how important this is for us. We need to have spaces for grown men to come and share best practices, share tools, share our stories, so that we realize that we don't have to be on an island by ourselves, that we don't have to suffer in silence. And if we share our experiences, we realize that we're not, but the things that we're thinking about, and that there's other men going through the same thing. That's how we can create the community that we need in order to push the needle forward for ourselves, which then ultimately will impact our families, will impact society, impact our communities, which is what the whole idea of the Black Man Can represents. But that's also part of the growth that I've undergone. And then along that, the Black Man Can has grown to cover all these different areas.
Wow. So I want to know, as a Black man, what are some things that you have seen or experienced that would help our Black men to be more encouraged and empowered? And I'm gonna be very specific with it. how can us as women empower and encourage our Black men better?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, I think as a whole, I think that Black women do encourage and empowerment. I think when you get to like an individual level, some may do it more than others or whatnot. But like, I mean, if you just look at it through history, right? Like the backbone of the civil rights movement is Black women, right? The Black male in terms of storytelling will always be prioritized because that has to do with being a male, right? So like, for example, everyone knows Emmett Till, right? It's just something that everybody knows. But there's thousands of Black women who were lynched, and most people can't name one, right? You know, and so there's a thing. So I think that Black women have been doing that. I do think that we can create more spaces for us to have constructive dialogue around what makes Black men unique and then our struggles, but also for Black men for Black women to hear that, as well as for us to take the time to hear about what things that Black women are struggling and things that they're challenged with, so that we can actually come together. The big idea here is how we need to be in community with each other. And I think sometimes we don't create the space to do that, which causes us to be at war. But if we haven't been paying attention, Black men need Black women and Black women need Black men in order to move our communities forward and put ourselves on the pedestal that we need to be on, so that we can, have the liberation that we need as a community.
Powerful. I love the fact that you said we need each other, right? And we got to remember that we need each other. Better together than separate. And that is so powerful to understand. As a woman who has dealt with heartbreak and brokenness and being abused mentally and physically and things of that nature, it can be very easy to just kind of give up on the Black man and be like, well, they not doing it. And some of you women are watching this, you're going to watch this live and you might watch the replay later. And this is a hard conversation for you because you have dealt with a bad relationship, but you have to remember that everybody's not like that, for one, right? So you can't hold on to that chip on your shoulder for the rest of your life. Like, oh, all Black men are dogs, or all Black men cheat. Like, I believe one of my friends taught me, and I didn't even know this until last year, that there's actually like a group that's called Black Men Don't Cheat. And I didn't even know that, right? But again, it's about having these healthy dialogues and conversations where we have to find better ways of communicating to see the root of the issue, right? If this Black man is treating a Black man wrong, what is the root of the issue, right? I believe that the man should teach and the woman should help. That's just my belief. The man should teach the woman different things of being better, and the woman should help the man. And I believe somewhere in the Bible, I can't find it right now, but somewhere in there, that's what God talks about. So I'm glad that you talked about us working together and collaborating for better and healthy relationships. And we'll talk some more a little bit. We'll talk a little bit more about that as we go along. I want to touch on your position in the Urban Assembly as the Director of Social Emotional Learning. Okay. First of all, what is social emotional learning? What is that? And how do you play a role in your directorship of this thing?
Yeah, social emotional learning is the process by which students and adults, or young people and adults, learn the attitude, skills, and values that allow for them to form relationships, cognitive learning, and ultimately using these skills to navigate a complex society. And so I think the key that we really think about when it comes to social emotional learning is that there's these skills that you learn. So it's like for both of us, I would say like we develop skills such as self-management or self-awareness, social management through life experiences. And so you could argue that that's a good thing or a bad thing, or not necessarily a bad thing, but wasn't the best way, right? And maybe our parents did a few things to help us develop that, but like we really need to move to a place where, in our K through 12 education system, those skills are also being directly taught to students along with math, science, history, foreign language, et cetera, because the social emotional learning skills are going to allow for you to navigate a complex society, help you solve problems so that you can be a successful adult. And so my role, what I do is I work with schools and I work with school districts to help them organize themselves around these principles. Because we all, for both of us, we experienced most likely a school where it was built around academic development. However, it was not built around social emotional learning and academic development. And that's the shift that we have to make for our schools. And in my role, that's what I help schools and school districts do, which will then make a better and level playing field for all students.
That's so dope, because you're right. That's not taught in the schools. They'll push academics all day, but nobody talks about the social emotional part, which is very much more, to me, way more important than the academics, right? Because if you can get the social emotional part down pat, the academics will come naturally. So I think that that's really phenomenal what you're doing there. And then you also a leader as the Urban Assembly's Resilient Scholars Program. So not only are you teaching them as a director about social emotional learning, you're also part of the Scholars Program as well. Tell us more about the Scholars Program.
Yeah, so the Resilient Scholars Program is actually our approach to social emotional learning. So we've built some education technology that allows for schools to do what I was talking about, where it's a program that allows for them to do that with the use of technology. And so it's like I said, it's a really amazing role. I love working at the Urban Assembly. I love that, I get to help adults get better. So in my role, I moved to a point in my education career where I don't work with students directly for the most part. I mostly work with adults. But by helping adults get better, by building the capacity of adults to do this work, you ultimately impact young people. And then your impact is tenfold when you're helping adults get better, which then allows for them to help students get better. And I love being in that role, and will continue to try to grow in my educational career to continue to help adult learners get better at the craft of teaching and learning and social emotional development.
So I love the fact that you talked about you work with adults now, because there is this saying that irks my nerves where somebody does something and you say something to them like, and they go, well, that's just the way I am. Irks my nerves. So are you saying, Brandon, I want to make sure we make this very clear. Are you saying that it is very possible to teach an old dog new tricks?
It is absolutely possible to teach old dog new tricks. I think more so sometimes what you're speaking to, sometimes when people say that, like, change can be uncomfortable, right? One of the things in the work that we do is really about shifting hearts and minds, right? When we can shift hearts and minds, policy and the act can follow. So it's about definitely really working on it's definitely working on that piece of adults and that growth mindset that, like, hey, and then sometimes it's also about showing people, again, like a new way to do something, right? So, like, I won't get into this whole educational jargon, but that's the key here, is saying, hey, here's how you were doing it, right? And that got you this far, right? It got you to 6. We want to get to 10, but in 10, we're going to have to shift some of our practices. We're going to have to make some changes. We're going to have to call it audible, right? And if we move in this direction, we'll move you further. And then ultimately, you're going to move young people further. And sometimes you just have to center it back to somebody's why as well. Because sometimes, especially in the public sector, you can become just like you said, just like, yo, this is just what it is. It's never going to change. Like why people don't vote sometimes. Like, yo, it don't matter if I vote, like, it's not going to change or whatever. But if we haven't seen anything, if we've seen just in the last presidential election, if you just look at the state of Georgia, just in terms of what happened when we do come out and we do mobilize and think about how we can shift. Because I would say that there's a lot of people in the country as a whole on both ends who like, yo, I'm never going to vote. That's, nothing's going to change. But when we do mobilize together and we're in community with each other, we listen to each other and we decide that observation and have an obligation, we can make the change and make the impact that we want to see.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I'm so glad that you touched on that, because again, it irks my nerves where people are just like, well, this is just the way I am. I'm like, no, that's a choice. Everything is a choice. So you can choose to stay the same or you can choose to make a change. It's up to you. So I'm so glad that you're part of something where people have made the decision to make a change and you're helping them with that, as opposed to the people who just want to act like ain't no help for them at all. So if you out here thinking and you're watching this, whether live now or the replay, you're thinking there's no help for you, introduce yourself to Brandon Frame, because clearly there is help for you out there. Clearly it is possible. All right. So you're also an author. I did not know that. Talk about your book.
Yeah, I mean, I like to I kind of try to stay low key. I just, stay low and keep firing. That's kind of like my little mantra there. So, but I'm also a children's book author. I co-authored a book called My First Tie: The Adventures of Coach Little Dell, My First Tie, with Deneen Eskridge, who's based in Los Angeles. And so this is the second book in a series. She wrote the first book on her own, and then we collaborated for the second book. And it's about Little Dell and him learning to tie his tie for the first time. It's been great. Get lots of really great reviews. I think this is, again, something where, you kind of just set out to, do something like, write a children's book, right? Because ultimately we want to do more of the Black Man Can work. But how do we do that with elementary school students? And so that came in the form of like this children's book. And then from there, just different experiences. Like I was at a book signing that we did, and a young man came to the book signing with his book already, and he brought his book report, and I was just like, when we're putting this whole thing together, we're going to do a book, like you don't think about a kid doing his book report. Like I'm so far removed about thinking about book reports that's not even a thought, but that's just a reminder that, again, it's about the impact, right? Like, and then I got a picture from a young man and he was Little Dell for Halloween, right? Like those are just really cool things and experiences that for me, at least carry me. I think that, as we think about the valley that we can fall in sometimes as humans, right? Because it's okay not to be okay. We can't push away from human feelings. But sometimes we do find ourselves in the valley. But some of the things that help lift me out of the valley are those experiences and those reminders from past experiences that let me know I'm on the right path, and that I should be really happy about where I'm at and how much I've grown, and then also be excited about where I'm going.
Ah, my gosh, that right there. You talked about being in the valley. That was so powerful. I mean, since you brought that up, right? First of all, we're going to get back to that feeling of a young man showing up with your book and a book report. Y'all know what that means? That means he actually read the book. Okay. Anybody can buy a book. It's a different feeling when they actually read it, right? Digested it and wrote a report on it. That's intentional, right? So your impact gave somebody the push to be intentional. And I think that's so phenomenal. But let's talk about this valley, right? With all these accolades and these accomplishments that you have had, people may look at you from the outside, looking from the outside and not knowing on the inside how sometimes you still deal with challenges, right? I know for me personally, I have people all the time that tell me, "How do you do it?" And I'm like, "How do I do what? Like, what do you mean?" They're like, "How do you remain this person?" And so I want you to talk about the biggest challenge that you faced and what steps you took to overcome that, to continue to be the man that God has called and chosen you to be.
Yeah, I think there's a few things. Like I've definitely gone to therapy. I think that people should go to therapy.
Wait, I don't want to interrupt you, but I need you to say that a little bit louder because I think the people in the back didn't hear it. Because in a community, that's like a word. Yeah. So please say it again.
I think you should definitely seek out therapy. It's like I kind of compare it to like the idea of like losing weight, right? Like, or what I'll say is like you can pray and see a therapist at the same time. Now, I compare that about going to therapy because like it's like, oh, like you might feel that you're overweight and not feeling healthy, right? And you can't pray the weight away. It doesn't work like that, right? Like if it was, you know what I'm saying? Like we people be praying, you know, every second of the day, right? If that was the case, but you can't. You gotta get a trainer. You gotta go to the gym, right? And so to work that off, right? And so the same thing with your emotions and your feelings, and if you're depressed and having anxiety, and trouble with different things. And these are first, again, are all human emotions. So those are real things to feel. And then you seek out therapy, because that, again, is a vehicle, or the trainer, to help you get back to being fit, to get back to homeostasis, right? And so I think that's, you know, really important. So I'm a fan of doing that. And so another thing that I practice in terms of a self-care routine, in terms of being in that space, is a long time ago I created what I call a happy folder. And in that happy folder is letters from students and places I may have spoken when I spoke to students, Instagram direct messages from people talking about how much they love the Black Man Can and how it's been impactful. Like I printed some of those things off, right? And so I put them in this folder along with a whole bunch of other stuff. And so I'll go to that folder, you know, again, in some moments when I'm in the valley, to just lift me back up, right? It's just a reminder, like, yo, everything is good. Like, again, because being in the valley is a wide range of human emotions. They are natural. Like, you're not always going to be 100% happy. You know, you're not going to always be optimistic. You know, the pessimism creeps in, the depression, anxiety creeps in. So again, you got to put different mechanisms in place that allow for you to move past that, back to where you need to be, so that you can continue on those order steps, you know, that God has you rightfully walking in, so that you can do the things that He wants you to do.
Wow. The happy folder. That's so dope. That is absolutely dope. Again, if you are watching this live, you're catching a replay later, I really hope that you are not just taking notes, but I hope that you are also sharing this out with somebody else, because there's so much profound messaging in here and action steps that can be taken, so that the Black man can, right? So that our Black boys can. And that is the purpose of being here tonight. So again, you are watching the Christina Danielle Show. We do this every second and fourth Thursday here on Facebook and on YouTube at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tonight on episode 3, we are talking with Brandon Frame, who is the CEO and the founder, Chief Visionary Officer, and the founder of the Black Man Can, amongst everything else. I have learned that's just a piece of the pie. But amongst everything else, because let's talk about you being, what is it, New Yorker of the Week?
Yeah. I mean, these are just really cool things, you know. What I think, all those things, the accolades, you know, what they are, as their reminders that you're doing good work, right? Like, that's all it is. Like, you know, in some ways you could say it adds to some credibility, right? Because like, somebody wouldn't come, they're not gonna just say like, oh, let's just do a story on anybody, right? You know, so like, but again, it's just a reminder, like, hey, here's the work, this is what we're doing, we gotta do this, and stay the course, right? Because, you know, we're doing good work, and that's what it all is to me. It's not the why, you know, but it is a reminder to continue to push forward, to push through different obstacles, push through the stumbling blocks, turn them into stepping stones, so that we can keep it going. You know, that's what that all represents. It's always an honor to be honored, and again, you carry that as a reminder to keep going.
I just absolutely admire your humility. Like, you are so humble, and it is just beautiful to witness. And thank you for who you are, and thank you for what you do. If nobody ever says it, I'm sure they do. But I want to make sure, on behalf of everybody that is watching here tonight, on behalf of everybody that will watch it later on, thank you for what you do, and thank you for showing us good, clean, a decent human being with so much humility. And I love the fact that you said the accolades are just reminders, right? It's not about pumping yourself up. Because some people, let's just be clear, some of y'all take these accolades and these things that you've done and you want to puff out your chest and you want to feel like you're big and bad and better than somebody else. But I love how Brandon puts it, because accolades should be reminders of the great work that you have done and the impact you've had on people's lives. And so that is why he is blessed the way he is. It all makes sense for sure. And, you know, just keep doing what you do, because people like me, and I'm sure everybody else here that is watching, we are honored. We're definitely honored. So let's, oh my gosh, you have also, and forgive me for keep going. Before I go there, let's talk about, you are a Morehouse College graduate. Shout out to all the HBCUs. I am a HBCU mom. Both my daughter is a rising senior marketing major at the illustrious Howard University. And my son is a kinesiology major going into his sophomore year at Grambling State University. So shout out to all of the HBCUs. If you're watching here tonight or you're watching the replay and you attend or have attended an HBCU, we do honor you. I want Mr. Frame to talk about the experience of going to an HBCU, because I think that that's something that we need to highlight as well.
I mean, well, first we gotta give you a shout out for being mom, right? You know, and showing that all superheroes don't wear capes. You know, because being a mom and ushering your young people, your children through middle school and high school, and you know, I know there's lots of stories. You could do a whole story. Like, let me tell you about what my kid did today. You know, and so, but they're there. You're a Bison mom, you're a Grambling State mom. That's so dope and awesome. And you got the next 2 years, next 3 or 4 years, you got graduations you're going to be going to, and you know they're just going to sit there and give you the thanks because you helped get them there. You carried them for 9 months and you know did everything else. So I want to say thank you to you. You know for bring young people to that point, and they're going to go off and be amazing adults and have impact as well. So that's what's up. Going to HBCU, you know, you sit back and there's times where you get to make these decisions in your life, right? And so, you know, I was 17 years old when I have a late birthday, and so, you know, at 17, I had the opportunity to choose between these different colleges, right? Which one I'm gonna go to, and I'm really happy that I chose Morehouse. Morehouse was my first choice. The moment I had left, I remember walking on, enjoying, and leaving campus, and I said, this is where I gotta be. This is gonna be the place that's gonna help me become whatever man I'm supposed to be, you know, is gonna help me get there, you know, and you can't trade the HBCU experience. I think that all students should, I know college costs a lot of money, it got you, I understand, but I think that everybody should look for HBCUs for their undergrad experience. You know, if you do go there for graduate school as well, but definitely the undergrad, like Morehouse, you can only do undergrad, you know, so I think people should look to that undergrad experience to the HBCU, because all those predominantly white schools you can go to for graduate school. So that's just my take on it. You know, when I have children, that's where they're gonna go. You know, that's my intent there. So, but yeah, I'm here for Morehouse. Every Black boy in high school should apply, should look at it as an option for school. And you know, I'm just thankful for that Morehouse experience. I'm thankful for the brothers that I met while I was there. I continually helped I had 2 young men get into Morehouse this year. You know, each year I got a few that go. So Morehouse, you know, you get these different quotes and then and experiences, and so like even from Morehouse, there's these different quotes that I live by that guide my life. So like every man and woman. This is one, if you want to jot this one down for those listening, but every man and woman was put on this earth to do something unique and something distinctive. If he or she does not do it, it will never be done, right? And so, you know, I carry that with me, and that ties into, you know, ideas of spiritual children seated by God inside of us, and he gives us the tools and the people around us. But he gives these ideas because we're supposed to do something, and if we don't do it, it'll never be done. And then that leads into walking, righteous man's steps are ordered by the Lord. So then that's why you walk by faith and not by sight, which then why his faith without work is dead, right? So these things flow, right? It's like a whole thing, but like Morehouse helped me put all that together, you know, and I'm just thankful for it. And I encourage as many young men as I can to go to Morehouse and young ladies to go to Spelman, Howard, Grambling. I'm here for all those experiences. So I think that's the wave.
Man, listen, HBCUs all day, all day. I will say that I missed the mark on that, right? I will say, and that was because I had my children at a young age, y'all. But just so we're clear, my number one choice was Morgan State University, and I was the first senior in my graduating school from high school to get accepted to college, and I was accepted to Morgan State University. So I feel like I'm an honorary Morgan State person.
I love it. Like I said, that's why I said I wanted to give the kudos to you. My mom had me at 20, and while she was in school, and it wasn't until 50 that she went back and finished. Right? She spent that time. I have two brothers and two sisters. And she spent the time raising us and doing all the things that a mom does. So that's why, when you said that, I just had to give you the shout out, because I know what my mom sacrificed and everything she did to make sure I got to where I'm at. And I know you have done the same thing along the way for your children. So that's why we salute you as well.
Thank you. I really do appreciate that, because God knows it has been a sacrifice, but a sacrifice that's been well worth it. So I can't even complain. Can't complain at all. So shout out again to all the HBCUs. I mean, if you ain't go to HBCU, then I don't know what you do with your life. But no, if you're getting ready for college or you're getting your student ready for college, definitely look into those HBCUs. I think Brandon broke it down phenomenally. And currently, you are working on your doctoral candidate at Boston University.
Yeah, I'm just, I just kind of just keep plugging. Like, God just be like, hey, you should go back to school. I was like, yeah, sound good, So I just, but I'm at Boston University. It's been it's an amazing program. I'm focusing on social emotional learning in Black boys, which obviously makes sense in terms of putting together my dissertation. And in 2023, I guess I just have to come back when you're in, season 7 or 8, or when you're actually on OWN or you're on NBC, with your show. I'm gonna come on, but my title will change a little bit, be Dr. Frame, and you'll have your big TV deal, and and I'll be like, I was there at the beginning.
That's right.
We was on StreamYard. Now we're on national television. I will talk about.
What I'm saying? The good word says where 2 or 3 are gathered. I believe there's 2 of us here, and we got a good amount of people that's watching. So you know what I'm saying? That's what it said. So we ready. You said season 7. That's what you said. All right, cool, God. We heard you. Heard you. Oh my gosh, this has been so much fun, so phenomenal to really get to know you, because I just really knew about the Black Man Can, and to just know so much more about you and what you do, how you impact, who you are. It's just been amazing here tonight. Talk about, what is next for Brandon? I know that you've got the doctoral candidacy going on, but what is next for Brandon Frame? What can we expect from Brandon? Not from the Black Man Can, because I'm gonna get to that, but what can we expect from Brandon?
Next for Brandon, there's a lot. This is what I sit around and think about when I lay in the bed before I get up in the morning. I think about what's next, and so I would just say, just thinking about moving. With the next phases of life, home ownership and many other things that come with that. So, I think that's next. Dr. Frame. Continue to move forward in my career. Family. Marriage, all that. So, I think those are like there's this symbiosis or whatever. I don't even know if that's the right word I should be using. But anyways,
it's a word tonight. It's cool. You're a Dr. Frame. You can make up your own words. You know that, right?
That's all that's next for me. And then so just working on those different things and trying to be more intentional about obtaining them.
Love it, love it, love it. And what's next for the Black Man Can? And how can someone connect with the Black Man Can?
Yeah, so the Black Man Can. So something I think that's really exciting that we can share is that we had a really successful 2020. And so we really kind of looked at Q2 of this year. We've kind of scaled back some of our efforts as the pandemic is ending, and thinking about the amount of impact we want to make, through various means, from, e-commerce to our lifestyle to social media and to the nonprofit. All of that kind of comes together. And so, coming in September, you're going to see the relaunch of the e-commerce side of the business. We're really excited about some of the things that we're going to be sharing there. We'll get back to doing a lot more in-person things across the country, from the King's Roundtable to the Building a Better Brother Summit. So I'm really excited about the mix of these different things, and we're just using this time to think and move correctly, so that all of those things can happen, and they can happen at a level where impact is real and felt, whether it's from social media to your living room. So.
Wow, that's so, oh my gosh, that gave me chills just hearing you say it. Like, I feel the manifestation of it, and it's just amazing. And I could be like, yeah, I heard when he said that was going down. So tell us, we know you have the Black Man Can, right? And I know there's some women who are watching here, and they want to know, what about the Black Woman Can? Like, what's up with that? But there is a sister to the Black Man Can, is there not?
Yeah. So we have our sister site, Because of Them We Can. Unique Jones Gibson. She's a powerhouse, amazing Black woman. So we're honored to be in partnership with her, with everything that she's building over at Culture Brands, and we're a part of that. So that's amazing. And in terms of the Black Woman Can, what I can say to that point is, I can't say that we're going to create a social media page or anything like that. However, when the new store opens, there'll be some stuff to speak to Black women. I think, as an organization, like just whether it's a company, any organization, you have something that you decide to take up as like your social, aside from the work that you do, you take up another issue that's important and that you want to invest time and resources into. And for us, it is making sure that we amplify the voices of, we listen and amplify the voices of Black women and girls. And so we're looking at ways in which we can do that, through the different forms in which we share information, create and amplify content. But how can we do that to make sure that we are listening, amplifying, honoring the voices of Black women and girls? And so I'm excited that, some of that will also become available, in the third quarter of the year when we launch everything.
That's super dope. And you already know I'm gonna hit you up on the side. Like, if y'all need help with anything, you got me. I wanna be down with that, because that's so dope right there. So amazing. So we're just gonna ask some quick fun questions before we wrap up. So tell us, what's your favorite song?
Yo, it's crazy. So like, I'm definitely, there's definitely songs that, will always resonate for me. Love Yours by J. Cole, Excuse Me Miss by Jay-Z. Like, there's just these songs, right, that just like whenever you hear them, always like when I think about the Some Cut song with the bed bouncing, like, what I'm saying, like, oh, that's my jam, so like, you got these different songs, like when you hear that bouncing, you just like, yeah. So I think that, there's some of those songs. I think the songs that I'm really heavy into Caribbean music and Caribbean culture. So I'm a big dancehall, reggae, soca fan as well. So I think sometimes it's just a mood person in terms of how I think and how I feel. It's like same thing with food, right? Like, I don't necessarily know if I have a favorite food, but like today is Mexican, tomorrow is soul food. I had jerk chicken, rice and peas, and steamed veggies for dinner today. So it's just yesterday I had pizza. So I don't know.
Like, today I'm Jamaican. Yesterday I was a little bit Italian. Tomorrow I might be Mexican. Like, I don't
know. Yeah.
Wherever I feel like being today. I mean, that's a beautiful feeling though. Like, that's so cool. So I can't even ask you, like, if you had one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm like pulling, like, I want some, I want Chick-fil-A nuggets, but I want some jerk chicken, but I would love to have some jerk pork as well. But then you got to give me some macaroni and cheese. You know what I mean? Like, kind of like I'm gonna start pulling, but I want Chick-fil-A lemonade. You know what I'm saying? But then I'm at the Minute Maid mango punch.
What about the Chick-fil-A milkshake though? I mean, I'm so fat. Like, the milkshake be banging. I can't.
The milkshake be hitting. So, I'm just, like I said, this is a, no real straight meal, but, just a, here, I like this, I like that.
Collaboration. It's a collaboration. I mean, I'm with you. The jerk chicken, I love me some jerk chicken, but you can keep the mac and cheese. I'm not a cheese person, okay. But we could do the jerk chicken in the Chick-fil-A. We could do that. All right, cool. So my last question for you, before I let you just, give people your final thoughts. If you were a tool in the kitchen, which tool would you be and why?
I was a tool in the kitchen. I like to chef it up a little bit. I think, I like to cook a little bit. So if I could be a tool in the kitchen, what I'm gonna be, I'm gonna be. I don't know. I nobody's ever asked me this question. That's why I'm struggling. Like, I'm that
was the point. That was the whole point.
Who's ever asked like what they would be in the future, man?
You can't be like, you gotta be unique with it.
You know what? I'm gonna be Reynolds Wrap.
Oh, okay. And why?
Because like that's top of the line. Like, so here's the story. This I guess is like a good bachelor story, right? So like, I went to the grocery store, and I said, we've all made that. We went to the grocery store and we made a decision to say, I always get this, but today I'm gonna be cheap, and I think I could get the store brand or the weaker version of something that you always get. Mm-hmm. And for me, I said I'm gonna get the store brand aluminum foil, right? And it was like paper, right? And then I was like, you know what? Top of the line is Reynolds Wrap, So that's top of the line, like when you barbecuing, when you cooking some biscuits, you want cookies, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna get the Reynolds Wrap because Reynolds Wrap gets the job done.
Hey. Top of the line gets the job done. Yeah. I love it. Oh my gosh, so dope. But once again, Brandon, thank you so much. Like, this was so much fun. I'm definitely looking forward to bringing you back on. You already know. All right. There's so much more we could talk about, so much more fun we could have. And I'm definitely looking forward to some more of the Black Man Can and some more of Brandon Frame. I'm sorry, Dr. Brandon Frame. Definitely looking for more of that. And again, just let everybody know how they can connect with you and what you do.
Well, first, thank you for having me. You're amazing. Your energy, your questions, like you are a showstopper, So I want to shout you out for your energy and just the melanin magic and Black girl magic you bring into the screen. You made this lots of fun and engaging. So shout out to you. And in terms of rocking out with the Black Man Can, like I said, we have you can look to September to support us through our store. If you looking at we are a 501c3, nonprofit organization. So you can go on to blackmancan.com or to blackmancan.org and donate to the organization. And then just continue to spread the word about our work and, what we're doing. And like I said, when as the things that we're working on now, come the second half of the year and beyond, we're just going to continue to bring you the positive images and narratives. We're going to be creating and amplifying the stories of what Black men and boys can do. We're going to celebrate, educate, and inspire. And we love to see you at our events as they start to put back up and support us in our efforts to do just that. Highlight, celebrate, educate, amplify voices of Black men. And we'll also be doing that for Black women as well.
Absolutely love it. Love it. Y'all make sure that y'all tap into everything that the Black Man Can is doing. Tap into Dr. Brandon Frame, because we are speaking the thing as though it is, because that's what God said to do. Okay. We highlighting our kings. All right. And thank you all for being here tonight. It has been an amazing, amazing episode with Mr. and Dr. Brandon Frame. And we just thank y'all for rocking out with us. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your love, your support. Once again, you can always connect with me at www.christinadanielle.co. My Instagram is at I am Christina Danielle. We will see you on June the 24th, I believe it is. I think that's the fourth Thursday of this month. And if that's not the date, whatever the fourth Thursday is, we will see you on that time for episode 4 of the Christina Danielle Show. Thank you to everybody. Have a beautiful and blessed night, and make sure that you always pray and prosper, and always keep the faith and put God first. All right. Good night, everybody.